Mango Math presents Nine Men Morris, a fifth grade game. Nine Men Morris is a fifth grade game that has students doing problem solving, and it's an ancient game in which the students will be playing, and it involves mathematical practice, a game where students reason abstractly, make sense of a problem, and persevere, look for and express regularity and repeated reasoning. So it uses all those things while they're playing the game. The supplies that are provided will be a Nine Men Morris game board and some bicolored counters. In order to play this game, each student will get to place on the board 9 counters each. And what they're trying to do is get 3 counters in a row, and they cannot go diagonally. It can only go vertically or horizontally. And once they hit 3 counters in a row, it's called a mill, and they get to then remove one of the other player's counters. Now, also within the rules is you cannot move a counter from an already created mill that is set up. You have to take a counter from some other place unless the only counters left are in the mill. You do not need to keep your counters in the mill all the time. If you need to move them, you may move your counters out. You just can't go back to that same spot and count that mill again. So you can't go back and forth into a mill thinking that you can keep counting those. So to play it, so let's say I move my counters. I start with the red and then the yellow, and we just continually take turns our counters until we have all 9 each on the board. So you just one by one, you put them on the board. Now you can create a mill while you're placing the 9 on the board, and then that person who's lost a counter cannot add another counter. He's lost one of his 9. So he's now could only have 8 on the board. So once the counters are all placed onto the board, then you can slide one space in anywhere that there's a line connecting. So only horizontally and vertically. You can't go diagonally. So you start moving one space with your counters, moving from one space to an empty space. You can't go to a full space. And you're moving around trying to create another mill. So you just go back and forth moving counters until you can create your own mill. So as you see, I'm kind of moving counters around until we get something situated. And so now you can see that since we've been kind of playing the game, I can have an opportunity to move a counter over. And so now I've created a mill, and now I can remove one of their counters and take it off the board. So you continue going. Yellow can then create a mill, and they can then take off the other other colors counter. So continuing on this way, you continue on until you have either cannot move one of your pieces to any other location, or you have too few of counters left to create a mill. So you just continue going back and forth, trying to create mills. So it's kind of a little bit like I don't know, trying to think like a checker game, but a little bit different than a checker. Just keep moving around. Until the player doesn't have any moves left. So as we're kind of playing the game. So some guided questions promote critical thinking. What strategies did you use while playing the game? Did the strategies work the next time you played? Was it more strategic to block the other players from making a mill or to create your own mills? So come up with some strategies while you're playing the game. It's meant to be played numerous times, so enjoy.